calls us, don't let it fade.
Welcome to Liberty Monday with Monday. Today, we conclude our series on the grievances listed in the United States Declaration of Independence by examining the 27th and final grievance, and by looking at the powerful conclusion of the document itself. This final portion not only summarizes the colonists' case against the Crown, but also declares their independence and acknowledges the immense sacrifice required to do so. Grievance 27, Repeated Injuries and Usurpations. Text from the Grievance. In every stage of these oppressions we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. What it means. This final grievance brings the entire argument into focus. The colonists are no longer listing individual wrongs. Instead, they are describing a consistent and undeniable pattern. At every stage of their conflict with Britain, they sought peaceful solutions. They petitioned the Crown respectfully and repeatedly, hoping for reconciliation. But those efforts were met not with understanding, but with continued harm. Their appeals were ignored, dismissed, or answered with further oppression. This pattern is what leads them to their final conclusion about King George III. It is not a single act that defines him, but the totality of his actions. In their view, those actions establish him as a tyrant, unfit to govern a free people. The final argument, a case for independence. With the grievances complete, the declaration shifts from listing injustices to making its final case. The colonists explain that they have not acted rashly. They have warned, petitioned, and appealed not only to the king but also to their fellow British citizens. Yet those efforts, too, were ignored. This builds the moral foundation for what comes next. Independence is not presented as rebellion, but as a necessary response to sustained injustice. The relationship between the colonies and Britain, as they describe it, has been broken beyond repair. The closing of the declaration. The document then moves into one of the most powerful conclusions in political history. It formally announces the separation of the colonies from British rule and asserts their place among the nations of the world. Text from the conclusion. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. This is the moment where argument becomes action. The colonies are no longer subjects, they are declaring themselves to be independent states, with full authority to govern themselves, make war, establish peace, and engage with other nations. The declaration does not stop there. It closes with a statement that reveals the gravity of what these men were doing. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes and our sacred honor. The cost of signing. These final words were not symbolic or rhetorical. The men who signed the declaration understood exactly what they were risking. By affixing their names to this document, they were committing an act that the British Crown would consider treason. Many of these individuals, including figures such as John Hancock and Benjamin Franklin, were well aware of the potential consequences. If captured, they could face imprisonment, the loss of property, or even execution. Their pledge of lives, fortunes and sacred honor reflected real sacrifice. Some signers saw their homes destroyed, their wealth diminished, and their families placed in danger. They were not simply making a political statement, they were putting everything on the line for the cause of independence. Why this matters? The conclusion of the declaration, combined with the 27th grievance, brings the entire document full circle. It shows that the colonists exhausted every peaceful option before declaring independence. Their decision was grounded in a consistent pattern of injustice. They understood the risks and accepted them willingly. This final section transforms the declaration from a list of complaints into a bold and consequential act. It is the moment where principles are not just stated, but acted upon. The closing of the United States Declaration of Independence reminds us that liberty often comes at a cost. The men who signed this document were not guaranteed success. They faced uncertainty, danger, and the possibility of losing everything. Yet they moved forward with conviction, grounded in the belief that government must be accountable to the people and that freedom is worth defending. As we conclude this series, we are left with a lasting reminder. The principles outlined in the Declaration are not abstract ideas, they are commitments that require courage, responsibility, and sacrifice. Thank you for watching. As always, stay informed, stay free.